start this, and I'll tell you what happened in a sec.
Okay.
1 second. Oh, 1 second. Ridiculous, I swear. You probably see the sweat off my head. Okay. Okay, you probably see the sweat on my head at the moment.
Yes.
Functioned. It just decided to stop working. Getting a new computer, I was like, basically, we need a new computer because this is, I don't trust this computer. You know, it broke before. And I said, I don't even know why it's working now because normally it should be broken. And as I said that today, it's just malfunctioned on me. So I'm sitting there like, oh no, I can't believe that. I got a podcast in a minute.
Oh no.
But luckily for phones, I got two phones. I was actually supposed to invite someone on, actually. Let me see if we can still get her on. Hold on 1 sec. I'm going to see if I can get her on. I mean, we're live now. Sorry, I want to apologize to the fans, of course. Sorry without the music today. I'm in stress.
It's okay. Take two breaths.
So take a deep breath. Oh. Okay, let me get this. How are you anyway? How are you?
Good. How's your day?
How are you anyway?
Good. It's rainy here.
How are you anyway?
US.
Wow. Really? Wait, are you in the Midwest? Isn't it always raining in the Midwest?
I'm on the East Coast, right outside of DC.
I guess it's... Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know if that's nice. Is it nice there? It always seems nice. I look at my hair, man. I didn't even get my hair sorted, man. Look at a mess.
Don't worry about it. You look fine.
Look at crazy Frankenstein. Yeah, thanks. All right, let me see if I can put this phone up. Wait there, 1 second. Okay, I'm gonna squeeze this in here like this. So, welcome to Black Apocalypse as usual. With me, I started out today. We've got our special guest returning, Mrs. Smalls.
Yay!
Hi.
So always pleasure to be with you.
You know, I want to ask you, how's R. Kelly?
In jail.
Is he in jail? Oh God! I need. Hold on. Can I get this to stay up? My life is crazy today. Wait, 1 sec. Oh, this is gonna have to wait. I don't know what to do. Wait 1 sec. I'm gonna see I've just got the blue screen of death. I can show you in a second what my computer's saying.
Okay, that's fine.
Right now, Jesus Christ. Sorry. So much for it being professional. Is that all right? You know, I was just on a roll last week because everything just started picking up. You know, I started getting all professional and stuff. And then, I guess you can kind of see me like this. I wish it was a bit more up, but actually, I know what I do. I turn this up like this. I turn this around. So, yeah, perfect. Okay, so Black History Month. Last week we spoke about, it's a great month. It's fine. It's our month, isn't it? Last week we spoke about what is Black history, basically where it was started, and you know what does it mean to us. So actually, what does Black History Month mean to you?
You know, that's an interesting question, Alastalio, because I get excited. Let me first start off by saying I get excited because everyone is talking about Black history, right? But it frustrates me because it's 1 month. I mean, we hear about white history and Anglo-Saxon history all year long, right? And so we only have this 1 month that we focus on the people who really helped to build specifically our country, but other nations within this world. So so I have sort of a bittersweet feeling towards Black History Month, if that makes sense.
What did one guy said? Actually, Black history is actually American history when you look at it, because without the Black people, the country would never really get off the ground like it did. You know, They had to get a huge portion of us to obviously build their roads and their industries. Yeah, infrastructure that exactly. And yeah, obviously, without us, it would never have taken place. So, in fact, it shouldn't even be a Black History Month. It should be, you should actually have a White History Month,
Mm-hmm.
and then have the rest of the time you should be learning about Black history. Another thing that's stressing about obviously Black history is that it's always associated with slavery.
Mm-hmm.
That seems to be what Black history is. And I actually had a lot of notes on my computer, which I'm really sad because it's gone now. So I'm gonna have to try and go off my head a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it started with slavery, but Black history goes before that, That's the part we're never taught. We're never taught, okay, what was happening before we were slaves. All we're taught about is, okay, a few million Black people went across to America. Half of them died on the river or in the sea, and the rest of you came and just went for white folks for 400 years. So it's one of those kind of weird relationship things that you're gonna have with this whole Black History Month. So that leads me to the next question: how far back can we teach Black history, like seriously? Because right now, like I said, we teach slavery in schools, but like if you try and teach before slavery, you would have to go back to Africa, wouldn't you? You'd have to, or there could be some evidence to suggest that there was Black people in America before the Black people that came over on the boats, like the Indian people. The Indian is that just sorry, that's racist. What do they call it? The natives? No, which one's
the natives?
One of them is not politically correct anymore. I think
Native American. Yeah,
wrong.
Indian refers to those that are actually from India now. It's India. Native Americans. Yeah.
Yeah.
So to answer your,
yeah, like I said, this
no,
you carry on.
No, I was just going to say that.
I was just saying that, yeah.
Everything you said is correct. Our history started, as far as we're taught in school, from a boat, and we don't go far enough back. And especially with my kids, I've been teaching them on my own that before we arrived in America, we were kings, queens, and business persons in our own land. We had our own land before slavery even existed and the transatlantic slave trade. So, and the thing about it is Black history is everybody's history, right? Because civilization began in Egypt. Okay. Yeah. So we need to talk about the pyramids that we built and all of those other things that we don't share with our children. But the problem is, when you control the story, you make yourself win. And so we've got to start changing the narrative and controlling the story instead of allowing someone else to control the stories. We need to start writing textbooks and so on so that we make sure that the story is told correctly, not the whitewashed version, for lack of better terms.
Yeah. That's actually funny you say that, because I remember watching stuff about Egypt a long time ago when I was little, because obviously in Europe, we're not taught, we don't have a Black history. Actually, I found out we do have our Black History Month. It's actually in October, but it's brushed under the carpet. Oh, really? Our guest next week's hopefully going to try and fill us in on the British Black history, which would be more connected to obviously the Caribbeans and the Caribbean influx after the war, the Second World War, and the African people coming like in that connection. I believe there was slavery too, but it was a little bit less. It was actually, I read this book. I don't know if it was actually in this book or another book, and they were saying slavery started off, it was actually a British thing. Oh, yeah. They were the first ones to start it, and then they were the first ones to abolish it as well. They were the first ones to start, hey, look, this is a good idea. Come America, take the slaves when America was being built. And then after they were like, no, we're against slavery. So they kind of quickly got out just on time to look good. You know what I mean? The classic. So anyway, going back to my original point, I was saying Egypt, when I was growing up, I always thought, I never knew Egyptians were Black. I thought Egyptians were light-skinned, like maybe European people with dark hair and green eyes. Yeah, really, I was like, wait there, why am I being? And I think that's the danger. It's dangerous to like when what the wrong person's telling a story, it's dangerous because they can then, like you said, they can paint that picture and completely wipe out your history, which is pretty much done. Like there's a lot of black people walking around and don't know anything about themselves, unfortunately. And that's why we're here trying to bring people up, learn together, basically.
Absolutely. And that's the
So,
thing.
yes.
Many of the facts have been manipulated, and so but our culture as Black people is so rich. I love that Africa is filled with so many different cultures and subcultures and different type of people with different levels of melanin within their skin tone. But if you're taught this one thing,
Yeah.
it's hard to accept when you see other truths before you. I will tell you, I'm from South Carolina, right? And slavery in our country started, for the most part, in the South. There are still lots of slave ports and so on in the South. And when you grow up in the South, especially during the time that I grew up, it wasn't very diverse. It was just white and black. White stayed over here, black stayed over here, right? So when I moved to DC, which was more of a melting pot, I'll be honest with you, I was totally cultural shocked because to see someone with skin like mine speak French so fluently, I was like, wait a minute, where are you from? Or, you meet people from Eritrea or, Ethiopia, and you're like, oh, wow, where is that? It's North Africa. Oh, wow. And you learn, and it's beautiful to learn about their culture. And so that's what we should do, is try to learn from each other, learn each other's culture, and embrace differences that we have, instead of, pushing people away that don't think like us or don't look like us or whatever the case is. That's what this country has been built on, is rejecting people that are different.
Yes, indeed. And that leads me to my next point. Basically, what happened with the Black religion, because obviously we came across from Africa, and there must have been people practicing. Because I can't imagine they just took a generation of kids across. So they was taking adults and people who have already been raised in the culture, but across Africa. But for some reason, we're told not to practice their natural religions. Now, how do we, like obviously it's Christianity. And regardless of what we think, Christianity is there and it's a good religion. Like all religions are, they're all based on like living good and truths and stuff. But what I've always wondered is, where did our true religion come from? Because they'll just be like, yeah, you guys are into voodoo, do magic and stuff and ubia. But, it's like, but there must have been our equivalent to Jesus back in the day. Because when we look at the picture now, we see Jesus and we say, okay, we can't really identify with him because he doesn't really look like us. So it's like, okay, I got to trust this guy. But back then, because to us, our lives, we've always been slaves. We've always been struggling. So to us, this guy who was from back then was the guy we're supposed to look up to. I don't know if he was talking about us. So what do you think about the whole religion thing? I think, is this something that should be taught to, like in the history, Black history, our religion as well, or if we can even find it?
That's a great question. Religion amongst the Black community is complicated at best. And I'll tell you why. So before slavery happened, when we were in Africa, we had our own religion, right? We kind of made up as we go along our own thing, right? So imagine we came here to this country and we were told to believe a certain thing. They gave us a version of the Bible in which they ripped out, certain portions and focused on certain portions to keep us submissive slaves, to keep us in bondage and so on. And like you said, they showed us a picture of a God or a Jesus that didn't look like us. He looked more so like the people that have captured us, that enslaved us, right? So I think on one hand, it
Yeah.
gives us, one of the things you look for in religion is your identity, right? Religion is a part, is huge for many people because it's a part of you.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
traditions, right? And so you look for your identity. So I think as Black Americans, we
Mm.
felt lost because here we are, we're worshiping this God who is no different in terms of the picture they gave us than the people that enslaved us, right? So I think that's the confusing part about it.
Yeah.
But especially here for us in America, we have to realize that there were some people that found the version of the Bible that showed how God freed us, Egyptians, from slavery historically. And so they used that as a means to get their freedom, to fight for their freedoms, to fight to get slavery abolished, right? And so we
Yeah.
really have to, and also what we have to remember, the Black church is where a lot of those conversations started. The Black church is where we would have talks about slavery, where we would get hope. Because as a slave, I would probably, honestly, if I couldn't get freedom, I'd probably kill myself, just to be honest. But you have to imagine there was some level of hope to help them keep going on. So that's probably the only reason why we're here today, is because our ancestors had hope. And that hope came from the Bible, not the whitewashed Bible, but the Bible in its entirety, where it showed that God did so much to free people for slave. And it says in the Bible, rebuke oppressors. Oppression is not from God. Not from God. That is not how he designed for us to live.
Yeah.
And so I think it makes it complicated because now I see a lot of people turning away from Christianity, especially specifically Black Americans, where a lot of us, especially the younger generations, the millennials and so on, they're starting to turn away because they're looking for identity. They're looking for ourselves, and they're starting to worship ancestors, and, they're going back to the practices of voodoo and all of those other things and so forth, because they're still searching, and a lot of times it's hurts that have happened within the church as well. And that can happen in whatever church you go to, but people get hurt and then they, renounce the whole thing and turn to something totally different.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because I also feel like back in the day, like the people used to have a more direct connection to God. Maybe in Africa, maybe it was like that we had a direct connection to God. So we knew how to listen to different like senses and feelings we have in our body, but the moment we were shown that God is external somehow, even though he's not, he's actually internal, so he exists in all of us. We were told by our oppressor that actually, he's out there and you have to go to this building and you're going to find him there and you're going to pray every day. I think that's what got lost when we transitioned from Africa to the Americas or Europe. So that's what I think. It's the same when you look at women too. Like if you go to Africa and you see the way the women look after their babies, they breastfeed them for a year or two or for as long as they want. They know when they've got their menstrual cycle. They know all these natural things. Whereas in America, it's kind of like, okay, you do this, you take this milk here, you buy, and it's like, oh, hold on a second, but haven't we got this built into us somehow? So I think that's what's kind of got lost in respect to religion in the culture. I think this is also something that really belongs to African history as well. I think it would be good for, especially our Black women, there's this discussion about the hair. I think you wrote a really great article about the girl who glued her hair. Sorry. The girl who glued her hair with the Gorilla Glue. I don't even know how you would make this mistake. I'm sorry, I just wouldn't know. But I do understand that there is a discussion we need to have about going back to the natural state and showing the oppressor that actually we're all right the way we are. Because even me, I have my hair like this. And look, I said to you, oh, my hair's a mess. I shouldn't even care if my hair looks like this. But I know when I go out sometimes, because obviously I live in Germany, And I go out sometimes and I get people looking at me like I'm like just run out of a zoo. And I get nervous. Like I'm like, so I can imagine what it's like for the woman who's, you know, it's the only way to do her hair is why she wants to straighten her hair and stuff like this. So because I get nervous as well. I'm like, oh my God, this guy's looking at me. And then people are trying to touch it and stuff. And oh yeah, it's so great. And I think they genuinely actually like it.
People try to touch it?
Yeah, of course. In
Oh,
Germany.
that's a no-no here. We don't do that. That's a huge no-no here.
We're going back though. We're going back in time. In America, you guys are forward. You're advanced. you're advanced in America. You guys are in the future. When you go to, even in England, they're in the future. But if you come to Germany, you got to go back about 50 to 70 years. What? That's where the Germans are at the moment. The German Europeans, they're back about 50. So they're just, it's weird. Like a lot of Germans' first interaction with black people was in the Second World War. It was like when the what was going on in the military, the American military. And I know there was one story where the girl saw the black American for the first time, and he offered her some sweets, and she took off. She just ran in the direction. She was scared and like hell.
Oh, really?
So yeah. So what happened when the Americans left? Obviously, there was a couple who stayed, married, got themselves German wives and stuff, and stayed. Mm-hmm. But everyone left, and then there wasn't that many black people here until like the last 20 years of started coming back. Mm-hmm. But for a long time, it was like, don't go to Germany because it's racist, and there's this and this and this. And to be fair, it's true, but it's still a nice place to live if you can get past all that stuff, you know, and keep DL, you know, stay low, you know, and just don't stand out. I mean, it's hard anyway, but especially with hair like this.
Alistalio, your computer is kind of, your system is going in and out, FYI.
Just try and blend in and you'll be all right. You'll be fine, like anywhere else, I guess. So, yes. That leads me to another about the black culture. Because if you see, is it the volume or is it the picture? Or how is it?
The picture and sometimes the volume.
Hello?
I can't hear you now. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
The volume? Oh, I don't know what that is. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Okay, just keep
Can't hear you anymore.
Let me know if that happens. If anything, I'll switch. Okay. What I wanted to say was, wait.
Uh-oh.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
I'm actually, hello?
I'm here. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
You can hear me. Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, loud and clear. I don't know if they're in, I don't know why. Hello? Okay, seems like we're having a bit of a connection problem at the moment. I will check and see if that's on my end or if it's on
you now. Can you hear me?
Our guest's end. Hello?
I can hear you now.
Can you hear? Can you? Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. Loud and clear.
Okay. Perfect.
Hold on one sec. Is it still dropping in and out?
You sound fine now. I just can't see you.
It's my internet, or you dropping in and out, or is it still going? I sound fine now. You can't see me?
I can't see you though.
Can you see me? Hold on, let me see. Can you see me now?
Nope, it's black. Black screen.
Can you see me?
Nope.
Oh, this is terrible. That's That's what we call. That's what we call as our black upper lips. Wait, one sec. I'm gonna see if I can transfer my.
Okay.
Just gonna see if now mute this picture. Hello. So yeah, basically, if you can hear me anyway, what I was gonna say was the black culture. That's something we did bring with us, obviously, with the drums and the music, you know, and the rhythm, the dancing and stuff like this. And I think a lot of things that are. Wait, I'm seeing if this will work now.
I can hear you, but an echo.
Can you hear me now? Can you see me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I turn.
I can hear and see you now.
I'm not gonna turn.
Twice, actually.
All right. So basically, what I was saying was the culture. Oh man, I've actually got an echo in my ears. I'm so sorry, man. This is terrible.
Okay.
Okay, let me get this in. Take this out. Okay. Switch phones. As I expected, I would need to. Okay, so like I was saying, yeah, one thing we brought across with us was the culture. But I think what's happening is if you look at the way the culture's going, it's almost like everything black people used to do has kind of changed hands. If you look at it now, it's almost like, but black people used to do that. Black people like rock and roll, for example, like music, or being good dancer in it. It's almost like I could imagine in the next 100 years, you won't even know that black people started R&B, black people started blues, black people started, dance. So you won't know because, and this is why I think black history is very important to keep this alive. I had a guy tell me once in Germany again, because German people are a bit funny. He told me that hip hop was created by Germans. Yeah, I was like, that's exactly how I looked. I was like, who the hell told you this? I was like, yo, NAACP, come and kill this guy.
We can't have anything. And that's the thing. It's frustrating a little bit because we've everything we've done has been taken. It's like, what's the name of the story about the woman who they took her cells, and her cells are used in most of the vaccines today, and they never gave her family credit.
Okay.
It's called The Helo Cell. It's a great book. I'll message it to you.
Yeah,
but this woman, they started doing, she went in for a black woman, she went in for a procedure at Johns Hopkins Medical Center, and they started, because her cells were unique, they started using them and testing them and experimenting on them without her even knowing it. And they took that, made all of these treatments and so on, and vaccines, many of the things we still use today, and never credited her family. So I'm drawing that whole point to say that's what's frustrating, is because I believe as Black America, we feel that so many things we've contributed to society have been robbed and taken from us.
Yeah.
And it's like, and so that's why it's so important that we tell our stories via podcasts, via books, whatever your modem is. We have to tell our stories so our kids' kids will know the truth. Because just like the German guy came up to you and said they created hip hop, and here now being Black is cool in America, in a sense that, people will pay to have our full lips. They will pay to get injections. I'm talking top dollar. Look at the Kardashians. They've taken our entire look, so to speak. So now it's being cool, being Black is cool. But here at the same time, one thing that really hurt us is Black people, we embraced assimilation. right?
Yeah.
Back when we were fighting for civil rights, we embraced assimilation because we wanted to get ahead. We wanted a seat at the table, and embracing assimilation for us meant we had to let go of our culture. Meant we had to start straightening our hair. We felt we had to stop, with the more natural and ethnic hairstyles. We had to speak their form of English and so forth so that we can fit in.
Yeah.
We left our
Yeah.
communities for the suburbs and to live in white communities because we felt that meant we have arrived. And when we did that, we abandoned the intangible community that we still need. You get what I'm saying? So one of the biggest things that hurt us is assimilation. But I also feel like there are enough of us that have a seat at the table that we should be able to change sort of what the corporate American look is, right?
Yeah.
And so so for me, if someone comes to interview for a job and they have hair like yours and they come to the interview looking like that, as long as you have the credentials needed, it shouldn't matter what your hair looks like. Who's to say, that's a subjective view to say your hair is a mess or whatever the case is. Who's to say? So I think if those of us who are at the table, we open the doors for others that have embraced more of the ethnic look, we can change the perception and we can change what's a corporate fit or not.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let me see. I need to get my next question up. Where's my questions? 21 questions. Da. Okay, actually, leading on to that, obviously there was a lot of robbery. Actually, the thing is, I don't know how much we can actually go into that, but we could probably kind of join it. There was a lot of robbery of inventions that a lot of black people did. Like, I think we spoke a little bit about it last week, but the guy who invented the light bulb, I can't remember his name now. It slipped away from me. Not Edison. Edison didn't invent the light bulb, but he stole it off another guy. Also, the George Washington, what was his name? George Washington. Someone Washington, or was it Booker T. Washington? The one who invented the peanut. Who found all the uses for
George
the peanut.
Washington Carver. Yeah,
that's it. But these stuff are not really. It's not spread. It's not widespread. You know what I mean? The refrigerator. I know a guy. It was a black guy. I can't remember the names at the moment. I had it all in a list. The guy who invented the refrigerator. The 5 lady astronauts. And all these guys, there's a lot of things that black people never really got respect for, and the fact that, what's even more strange is no one told us it was actually black people getting these positions. So to me, I'm still thinking, Barack Obama was the first guy to ever get like an important position. Yes, really? 2008, Barack Obama, he's the first guy who made it to the top. He did it. There was never a police officer, a lawyer, a banker. There was never another black person. It was Barack Obama who's the first guy. And all of a sudden, slowly they've been like, yeah, but this guy was black and he invented this, and this guy was black and she was black. And it's like, wow, really? I didn't know that. And I think a lot of black people sit in that boat like me and think to themselves, wait there, we don't know. We have no one to look up to. All we think, which is a big problem, is black people can be footballers, like athletes, singers, rappers. And the thing is, I was one of them ones too. I was the one who lost in the whole idea that I could be a musician. And when you look at how much, there's only like 5 jobs in the musician, like in the branch, the musician branch. It's like 5 jobs. It's only 5 black people who can be famous at a time. And the rest of us have to like struggle for the breadcrumbs. So that's another big problem. If you take away our history, you take away our hope that we could be more than we are. So like when I was growing up, all I thought was, I'm gonna be a bus driver. A bus driver. That was the highest I could, I wasn't the dumbest guy in the class. I just wanted to be a bus driver. That was it. I'm going to be a bus driver. I'm going to drive a bus. I'm going to make $8 an hour and I'm going to be good. I never thought, let me be a scientist. Let me be a doctor. Let me be a lawyer. Let me be a engineer. I never thought like this because
people that look like us that were doing those jobs.
Exactly. I saw white folks. I saw like the few Indian guys who were really smart at school, and I was like, for us, there's nothing, and that's why I leaned towards going into music, and I thought I could make it in the music, and I fought for 15 years trying to be a musician, and never got anywhere. Got sent round in circles and circles, you know. Yeah, you stay there while I see all my friends making it who weren't black. I was like, hold on a minute, what's going on here? So, so yeah, that's actually I
I
wanted
get
to.
it. And let me tell you, there's a larger agenda at play, right?
Yeah.
Behind that. Not only is it to keep us at lower level positions, but it's also to say to other white people, right? It's also to tell them when it's time for them, when they try to run for a position or they apply for a position, you should not hire them or you should not vote for them
Yes.
because they have not ever accomplished anything, right?
Yes.
So
Yep.
that's where that mentality is, that why people think we are not smart or
Mm.
we do not bring any value, is because they never seen it. And
Yeah.
that is the crux of racism. And especially when you go to towns in the deep south of America,
Mm.
and these individuals, they've never seen anything, they're not around anyone that challenges their views.
Yeah.
So all they see is black bus drivers, sharecroppers, all those types of things. They don't see the scientists. They don't
Mm.
see us, being owners
Receiving.
of
Yeah.
companies like Melanie Hobson's now the chairman of Starbucks.
Mm.
They don't see that. So for them, when someone like Barack Obama steps up to run for president, it's like, what is he doing? Go
Yeah.
drive
Where
the
do you come
bus.
from?
Yeah, exactly. But again, we have to make sure, and I'm glad, I'm grateful to the media, because the media here in US, they will show, especially during this whole COVID pandemic, they will show black doctors who
Mm.
give advice and counsel, who's sitting on prestigious boards, who've won awards and so on. And my daughter loves science, so I would bring her in, like, look, you see that girl? She looks just like you, and
Yeah.
she's a scientist, and that gives her a lot of
Yeah.
hope. And she's like, oh,
Yeah.
she can do it. I can do it too.
Mm.
So representation, when they say representation matters, it does. It
It does.
truly does.
Indeed. Indeed. I was saying to my wife the other day, because obviously my kids are mixed,
Mhm.
and but I look at it as, because my kids are mixed, so they consider black anyway. That's how I look at it. And I was telling my wife, yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm not giving it. I'm not giving my kids away, man. They belong to the black race. That's it. I made 3 more black kids for us. And I was like, she was like, yeah, I want to be a singer. And I was like, you're not being a singer. I said, over my dead body. And I know that's really wrong for me to say. She should be allowed to do what she wants, because, she's her own human. But I've
Mhm.
got to make sure. I said, look, you can be a singer. You can go and sing, but get a job where you can afford to do that hobby. Because I said, if you're going to try and be a musician and follow in my footsteps, you're going to meet a lot of disappointments. You might make it. I mean, you might make it. But I said, like she also said, I would like to be a dentist. I was like, now that's what I'm talking about. Be a dentist. Work hard to be a dentist. Yeah, true. Work hard to be a dentist. Show other black people that you can be a dentist. And then you can also sing on the side. Great. Great job. Great future. You
Mhm.
know. So I think it's really important for me, for my 3 kids, that they do something decent. And if they want to do all this other stuff, I'll let them know. Yeah, it's good to do. It's fine if you want to go play football, and if you have a chance to do
Mhm.
ride horses or whatever. But I want to make sure they know, I mean, this education, to get a job, that I want you to help people. I think black people need to be in jobs where they help people more. So people can look and say, yeah, but that black guy saved my life.
Yeah.
He saved my life. Because once
Mhm.
we're doing that, we're then in the position of, oh, we trust these guys because we know
Yep.
they're going to come and save us. Black
Mhm.
firemen, black police officers, black doctors, that's where we need to sit. As long as we're not like that. And trust, and plus, I remember one time, like, I don't know how it is for you, but I remember when I was younger in England, I was raised in England, obviously. So when I was being raised, I went to the dentist once,
Mhm.
and like I needed a tooth doing, something was wrong with my tooth. The guy was just like, I'm gonna pull it, pulled it out. and just said, okay, go away.
Mhm.
My mouth was bleeding for like 3 or 4 days after. I was like, what the hell, man? What did that guy do to my tooth?
Mhm.
I only realized when I went to the dentist again that he was supposed to stitch it up, but he didn't do that. He just pulled my
What?
tooth and let me go. So
Wow.
yeah, so I was like, was that like a racial attack? Was that because he didn't like me? You know,
Wow.
he didn't stitch up my tooth. He left it and he bled for 4 days. I had like a huge swollen mouth.
Malpractice.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I was only like 14 or 15 or something, or 13 or 14 or something. So I was a young guy. And I think about that now and I think to myself, oh my God, I went to the dentist. The guy, he did something to me that which could have caused me more problems than it was supposed to, because he probably didn't like the way I looked, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Very
Because I
true.
moved to because I moved to an area where it was majority European people. There weren't really many black people there, so it was highly likely that this guy would try to do me harm, you know.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
So that's something. That's why I would like to see more people of our ethnicity in positions of power, so I can look at him and think, okay, he's not going to do it based on the fact that I'm this
Black.
color, or I think that's
And then I think also it helps us to build trust within our own community as well. Because I don't know if you guys are having this issue, but in terms of the COVID vaccine, a lot of Black Americans are refusing to take it because medicine hasn't always been kind to us. Like they've experimented on us. They tried to, kill us and so on when we would go seek
yeah,
out medical care. So a lot of Black people are refusing. So what I've done is, and I'll send you a link if you want to hop on too. I have
yeah,
she's originally from Africa and she came to the United States. She's a doctor. She's now the director of one of our counties' health department. And she's
mm,
going to talk about the vaccine.
mm,
Specifically, she's talking to us, the Black community.
yeah,
So that's why it's so important, because if we hear this information from someone that looks like us, we know you have our best interest at heart, right?
yeah,
And so
yeah.
you're going to tell us, like, hey, don't take the vaccine. They're going to be experimenting on you. They're going to inject you with syphilis like they did the Tuskegee Airmen. And
Yeah,
that didn't happen so long ago.
yeah,
And
it
so,
wasn't that long
like
ago.
the Tuskegee Airmen, some of them, I believe a couple are still alive.
Yeah,
So that is still fresh. And as I said, previously, we are still suffering from the wounds, the hurts
mm, yeah.
from racism, rejection, and prejudice that has plagued us for so long. And so that's why you get that reaction right now to the vaccine. I can tell you most of my friends are not willing to take the vaccine.
Everyone I know is not going to take the vaccine.
Really?
Everybody,
So it's the same
everybody I know is not taking the vaccine.
there?
Especially
Wow.
not the first couple of waves. Anyway, they're like
Yes.
even me. I'm kind of like I've read up about the vaccine, so I'm like, okay, everyone keeps talking, it's rubbish. Let me find out what this is. So I read up a little bit more in depth in it, and when I was reading about it, I was thinking to myself, okay, it doesn't sound that bad actually. It's a vaccine. It's gonna go into
Mhm.
your body. It's gonna help you build defenses against this virus, and then it shouldn't do you harm, so much harm. But there's a lot of people who are against it. But me, I'm also like, I'll wait for a year or two. I'll look and see what happens with the rest of the people, and then I'll lend myself to the cause. But yeah, but I mean, we like you said, we are skeptical. We don't want to be played around with. We've already been punished enough, and we know these guys. Like you said, half these people who tried this back in the day are probably still alive today, making rules and stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're trying this now on a global scale, a global experiment to try and like see what happens with us.
I hope
Um,
not. Gosh.
but then, like you said, I'm going to be interested to see when you send me this link. I'll be interested. I'll even post it on the group.
Yeah, I
I'm
will
interested to see what a medical professional would say, like out of Africa,
certainly.
because like as far as I know, in Africa they don't really have that many cases, so it's not something that they're really busy with. You know,
Really?
Only South Africa, but the rest of Africa is quite quiet. We don't they're chilling. They're like, we don't have any COVID.
I
So
wonder why that is. Why they don't have many cases in Africa? Is it they eat better or?
I don't know, but even Bill Gates came out and he was like, I don't know why it's not higher in Africa. I have no idea. For some reason, it's just not going up there. Like he always wanted it to go up. Like, what? It's not working. It's not working. Yeah, but yeah, last time I checked, there was really no cases. That's why you could probably still travel to Africa at the moment
Hmm.
and get in with no problems and stuff. Move
Yeah.
around.
Hmm. That's it.
Um, that would be the next question. The conversation of moving black people back to Africa on a whole scale. Like, I don't know how the Americans think about it, because there's a lot of talk. Obviously, you got all the different black communities, the DOS,
Hmm.
descendants of slaves who want reparations, and there's all these people. Like there's the black, what do they call it, the black woke community,
Hmm.
the elders who are talking, Africa, Africa, Africa. But there doesn't seem to be any move for anybody to actually go back to Africa. Do you hear anything about this, or do you know anything about this, or would this be actually be a possibility for
You know,
Black Americans?
so I think when racial profiling became heightened last year, right?
Mhm.
And when I say heightened, I mean it was just exposed. We all
Yeah.
know racial profiling and injustices always existed, but it was behind closed doors.
Mhm.
So I think that a lot of people felt uncomfortable being here in the Americas. And so we have a lot of people that are now expats, but I don't think it's just to Africa. I think they're willing to go anywhere where they can feel free racially and they don't feel like they're going to be gunned down
Mhm.
just by the color of their skin. And and then on top of that, justice won't be served.
Yeah.
So I do. So on the one hand, that is that. But Marcus Garvey, rest in peace, was a big proponent of that. He had a whole movement on that, and to be honest, it didn't really go very, very far. I think people, especially Black Americans, we've gotten comfortable here. Okay, I think you know
Yeah.
we've been here. Most of us are not from Africa. We're
Yeah,
from
that's it.
America. Our ancestor, our grandmother, great grandmother. So we're so far removed from that, from the culture. We are American now, right? And
Mhm.
I think we've gotten comfortable, and I also think comfort can be a problem because we no longer fight as hard as we did in the 60s. In the 60s and
Yeah.
50s, we were public enemy number one. We were being, disenfranchised and threatened and intimidated all over the place. So we had no choice but to fight. Now, we're in corporate America. We're living in nice homes. So
Yeah.
we've gotten so comfortable that we don't fight as hard as we used to.
Yeah.
So I know, so a very short answer to, it was a long answer, but the short answer is nobody's going nowhere.
So what you guys need to do then is to figure out, like the Chinese. The Chinese always do it right. They
Mhm.
have a little Chinatown in every single city, or
Yes.
any city that's like known. There's always a Chinatown, always, if the
Mhm.
city's big enough. So that's what they need to do now, is have an African town where there's
I like
where we
that.
can go. Yeah, that would be. I swear I'm onto something here.
You
An
are on
African
something.
town, yeah, an African town where you go there, like the Chinese people. I remember when I was in, was it San Francisco? I think it was San Francisco or Los Angeles, one of them countries,
Mhm.
one of them states. Sorry, no, cities.
Mhm.
It was in California. And I was like, what, like Chinatown here? And I went in there and I had some food, and I was like, oh my god, this is authentic Chinese food. It was
Mhm.
disgusting, but it was authentic, and it was
Right.
like everyone there was Chinese. There's all these Chinese people. I thought it was like all writing on the walls was Chinese, everything. And even in my city where I come from, Birmingham, it's the same. You got Chinatown. Um, in Germany too, you have Chinatowns. They speak
Mhm.
German, but the Chinese people, and you go there and all the writing is in Chinese and stuff.
Mhm.
So that's what we need to start maybe focusing on, is have a little African town where
I
when we
like
go
that.
there, it's all African people from different, because Africa's so diverse, man. You got
Mhm.
like Uganda, you got Ghana, Nigeria, Senegal, uh, Egypt, Ethiopia, Somalia, Tanzania. You got all these places, have all got different cuisines and different styles, the way to do stuff.
Yes.
And it's
Isn't
like
that just
different dances. Even
Mhm.
the way they dance and move is different. And it's like, how is that possible? So you could have that in this little African town, which should be
Mhm.
set up everywhere. And I think then we'll get recognition. just like you got with the Chinatown. Chinese people get recognition as well the same way.
You know,
That's what I would
that's
think
actually a great
going
idea
forward. I don't know
because
how you'd start that.
yeah, it's a great idea because there's a little Italy in almost every major city as
There you
well,
go.
which is the same
Yep.
concept.
And an
But
Irish pub.
yep, exactly. But here's the issue is, you know, many Black Americans have a very negative view of Africa, right? Because they've only seen the
Oh
images
yeah.
of Africa, you know, with the starving babies running around with the flies drawn to them. And, you know, they think that they don't
The
have,
plate lip.
yes, they don't think, they don't think they have like paved roads and air conditioning, you know, the modern amenities. So they look
Yeah.
on it, but that's out of sheer ignorance that they
Mhm.
look down on it because some of the best beaches, some of the prettiest areas are
Mozambique.
Africa. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
My husband went to Africa a couple of years ago and he was like, it fascinated me that like all of the billboards, like advertisements, the women that were on advertisements, they were all us. Like they were all
Yeah. It's like, wait,
women.
what?
Yeah. Yeah, he was like, wow, that's fascinating. So it's a different experience. So we've got to learn here to look um differently at Africa instead of seeing it for the images that we were given,
Yeah.
because they showed us those images to make us feel like, oh, you should be grateful that you're here,
Yeah.
brought you here, you know, and we bought into it. We
Yeah.
bought into that.
And I don't want you to go there either. They also make it look like, why would you want to travel there? Look, you're gonna go there, you're gonna be eaten by a lion, you're gonna have to sleep in a mud hut. But
Yeah.
when you go to Africa, I swear, when you go to Africa, you're like, hold on a minute. This is just like Europe. It looks exactly the same as Europe.
Yep.
Exactly the same. Okay, there's
Exactly.
some off-beaten road, off
Exactly.
the beaten track. Trust me, when you go, and the driving is a bit suspect. But I tell you what though, it's no different to when you're in like Asia.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in
Yes.
Asia, it's the same. When you go to Thailand or something,
Mm-hmm.
or even Japan is the same. Japan's all futuristic, but you can go to some places where the roads are like broken down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's yeah, I think that was the agenda behind it. Look, we don't want you guys to travel to Africa. You should keep your money in America, and that's another thing that would really Black people need to implement. That everybody, Black person, needs to visit Africa. They need to go home. They need to go and have
Yes.
a look. They need to go and have a look and get rid of some of this brainwashing that you've endured over the last however old you are in
Mhm.
America. Because trust me, there's constant brainwashing going on from the Americans and Europe. It's constant every day. White is right. White's the best. Be
Yes.
white. Give your money to us. You're gonna be all right. We're gonna look after you. We're white. We're the best. But trust me, in Africa, when you go to Africa, man, you feel like I felt comfortable. The only two places I ever felt comfortable was Africa and Brazil. And that's because
Really?
most people look like me. Yeah, yeah. Brazil's the same. Brazil's the only thing with Brazil is it's it's predominantly black,
Mm-hmm.
but the Europeans own everything.
Mm.
So like you see that the people who look like us would be more in the poor areas, and the
Oh,
lighter
really?
you are, the
Mhm.
more how do you say, uptown you'd live. You know, the more in the posh areas. And
That's
that's the only thing
Asia
that
as
like got my
well.
nerves when I went to Brazil.
Asia has the
Asia's the
same.
same, yeah, yeah. Asia's
The
the
lighter
same. You see
people
that in the
work for
banks.
companies.
You got the
Mm-hmm.
tall,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah, the tall European guys with the banks, with the suits, and all
Mm-hmm.
the darker brown people
Mm-hmm.
on the streets. And I was
Yep.
like, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. So yeah, Brazil. That's why I would like to relocate to Brazil if I can, because I just love Brazil. If
Really?
not, I would
Wow.
definitely. If I can't get to Brazil, I'm going to somewhere in Africa. I've got to get away for my kids' sake, for my
Mm.
family's sake, for my sake.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would encourage you
I've
to
given
come to the
I've given
US,
enough
but
for my.
I don't know.
I would have to go to Atlanta or something. I'd have to be in Atlanta, Georgia or something. I couldn't be or Chicago, somewhere where there's like more of my people. You know, I like. Don't get me wrong. I like white folks. I think they're nice people. In but for me, I've lived around them so long now. I would like to live around my own people for a little bit, and what's up, man, and people who understand me and people who don't look at me like I'm strange or look at my hair. You know, I want to be an inspiration to my own people. I don't need to
inspire others. Yeah, no,
help anyone else. Yeah, I don't need to inspire anybody else anymore. They're good. They're good to go. So that's my plan. And if I can, I'll move to somewhere in Africa. If I can't get to Brazil, definitely that's on the agenda. I've given over 30 years to Europe, so it's time for me to give the last part of my life to the homeland.
Wow, I love it.
Yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan. All right, good. Is there anything else you want to add on today? I think
no, buy my books.
Yeah, books.
Healing Emotional Wounds.
I'm still waiting to read this book.
Did you get it?
I never got my book.
Oh my God, I sent it months ago. Oh my God, I'll put another one for you. I don't know what happened, honestly.
Just send me an invoice. It didn't get returned to you either.
No,
someone took it.
Somewhere out there.
Did he go through Atlanta? Maybe a black girl saw it and thought, oh, I need this book. She's like, yo, thank you, Wade. Thanks for the book. Yeah. So buy nijiama. Buy Naja's book.
Yes.
I'll post the link on the page as usual. I'm looking forward to getting my copy. This book.
Whenever
actually, quickly before you go, what's been going on? Because you've been getting a lot of publicity from the book, haven't you? A lot of people.
Yeah. I released another book. You like two books.
Another book.
Yes, I released another book, The Black Girl's Guide to Healing Emotional Wounds. It's a devotional. It takes it day by day, healing our wounds and addressing our issues day by day. I've been busy, promoting the book. I've been speaking at conferences and so on. So, I'm just excited because so many people read it and they heal from it. And even men, listen, men, if you're out there, grab the book. It will help you understand Black women and how to prevent further wounds. Even women of other color have been diving in and gaining something from it as well. So pick it up. It's on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Books A Million. Yeah.
Yes, I look forward to getting my copy. I want to read this. Not going to use my daughters. And then my family, my sisters. My sisters need it more than anything. They're all broken. They're broken. They're all done. All right. Yes, then thanks for being with us. We'll see you again for sure. Maybe we're going to do we were doing now the Black Opulence podcast in format. So this month we'll do Black history. Next month we'll do inspiration. But I want to do, I've got someone, actually I had someone on recently. She was a writer too. She was doing erotic, Black erotic. Who's the Black woman who writes erotic books? She's
Terry McMillan? No.
I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's that name. I was hoping you would know so I can go, yeah, that's it. I don't know, there's a famous Black woman. She was really a big fan of her and she started writing erotic books. Kay Spencer, I think her name is. I'm going to try and do a month where we just have writers on.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And then I'll get you back on for that. Perfect. It's all in the pipeline. First thing I'm going to do is repair my laptop. Oh, thank you very much for being with us, guys, and have a good night. And we'll see you guys next week.
Yes. Thank you, Salio. Bye.
Bye. Bye.